Hi everybody, it's Anna. Time for the full moon spread for July 27th, 2018. So there's a lot of talk about this being the blood moon. I'm sure if you want to find out more about that, it's on the internet. All I know, mostly for myself, is that when the full moon shows up, it is time for us to shift from a pattern of being very active and productive into a pattern of rest and recreation, where we are shedding old things and letting ourselves do internal work. So the spread I do for the full moon is basically asking how we can make the most out of the next 2 weeks in recreating ourselves and feeling refreshed and released from old patterns. So the first card I pulled is the situation card. What we need to know about what's happening right now is the Page of Cups. So the page is a young, adventurous, very open-minded energy, and the cups are about the heart. They're about listening to your intuition and listening to your emotional truth and following and connecting with others in a way that is really honest and true to yourself. So in this image, we've got a cup and we've got a little fish poking his nose out of the cup. So this suggests, and the page is listening. So this suggests that the heart talks to us in ways that are sort of surprising and unusual, and it's easy to miss them if you're not listening for them. It's easy to ignore a fish talking to you if you're being very logical or you're very driven or you're very you're not looking for it. So in the next 2 weeks, what you want to do is listen very carefully to the language of your heart. The heart speaks through feelings, through emotions. And emotions are always the quickest way to see if what you're doing is in alignment or not in alignment with your highest good. Your body will tell you, your emotions will tell you. So as you go through the pattern of releasing and recreating in the next 2 weeks, you're going to want to really pay attention to what things you need to get rid of, because they clearly always make you anxious, or they always make you angry, or they always make you fearful. Like, that's the sign that something is a serious problem, and there needs to be action taken to release that, to send it on its way. So that is the situation card for the next 2 weeks. The challenge card that I pulled is the moon reversed. So this is the major arcana cards. That means it's about a big life lesson. When the moon shows up, it reminds us that there are areas of our lives that are very important, but are under the realm of our consciousness. So the moon comes out at night where things aren't very easy to see. And the moon does offer a source of light, but it also offers a source of shadow. And that is the challenge of the card. That's the lesson. Is there are things in your life that are coming to the surface, that are making themselves available for you to see, but you have to decide you want to see them. And if you decide you want to be ignorant about them because you're afraid of them, or you think they're going to overwhelm you, then you are choosing the shadow, and there's no movement possible. There's no growth possible. Now, the reversal of the card suggests to me that's where we probably are. In the next 2 weeks, we might find ourselves feeling a little bit squirmy, and we want to be active. We don't want to rest and recreate because we're afraid of what will come up. There is trauma, there's anxiety, there's bad feelings, whatever it is, and we are afraid of being overwhelmed by it, of being wounded by it, whatever the fear is. But it's very important to realize that the lesson of this card is that there is nothing within you that is more powerful than you are. There's no memory, there's no trauma, there's no amount of pain that your soul in its own power and magic cannot overcome. I've worked with people many times where they had a pretty serious trauma, a pretty serious feeling of anxiety and pain, and we cleared it really, really quickly. It's important to realize the challenge here is not the healing. You are good at healing. The challenge is the fear. You're afraid of even looking at it. And if you won't look at it, you can't heal it. So in the next 2 weeks, consider where you are feeling fearful. You're kind of hiding in the shadows. You don't really want to look at something. And challenge yourself with the question of, do you really think that it's too big for you? Is it really that impossible? And really push on that fear. Fear is always the worst part of any challenge, of any journey, of any step. It's always fear. And fear is irrational. There is nothing bigger than you in your power. Okay, so the next 3 cards I picked are action step cards to give us some idea of what we can do in the next 2 weeks, which will really help us. We have another major arcana card. It's the High Priestess. So I think of the High Priestess as being the pregnancy card. She is the one who holds the space for things that are coming to maturity within us. She sits on her little throne here and she's got a book of knowledge. She holds wisdom, and it's recreative wisdom. She can create things, manifesting wisdom. And she sits before a veil, so which means it's curtained off. You can't see what's happening. So her work is often in the unconscious realm. It's not obvious to the people walking by that anything is happening, but very, very powerful magic is happening under the surface. So that is, again, reminding us it's not about action. It's about trusting that when we are still, very important things are happening, and we have to commit ourselves to the stillness. So in the next 2 weeks, if you feel, again, that you're getting antsy and squirmy and you want to take action, remember that in the next 2 weeks, important things are happening under the surface. Commit yourself to behaviors and to patterns that are recreative, that feel nourishing, that feel relaxed. Like, avoid things that cause you to feel anxious. Don't listen to other people's expectations. Like, really focus on what you need to feel nourished and careful. Just like if you were a pregnant lady going to have a baby and your primary need is to take care of your physical needs, your emotional needs, to rest, to feel cared for. That's what this card tells us to do. Second action step card we have is the Six of Swords. So this card shows up when we are ready to release old mindsets and beliefs and ideas that are not in harmony with our highest self. Swords are about the mind. So with swords, whenever they show up, it's about the mind having to do some work. So in this case, this woman is being ferried across the water. She's being taken from a place that's disharmonious to a place of new harmony, because the number is the 6, and that's the number of harmony. So the reversal of the card suggests to me that we have already likely discovered the mindsets that are stuck for us, the beliefs that don't help us. We don't really believe them anymore, but we have yet to take action step to free ourselves from them. So we're still attached to the community that believes in scarcity, even though we don't believe in scarcity. Or we're still, having a relationship with somebody who is anxious in the world, even though we've decided that there's no reason to be anxious. So there's this idea that you yourself might have already decided, this doesn't work for me, but you're still in disharmony because you haven't moved forward into your new place of harmony. So in the next 2 weeks, it's good to consider where you have unfinished business around your mindset, and ask yourself, how do you finish the business, leaving your disharmony behind and moving to a place where your mind really is in sync with your highest good. And our final action card for this full moon is the Knight of Cups reversed. So we had a Page of Cups to start off with. This is another Cups card. It's about the heart, connection, following your intuition. But the Knight is a very active energy. So this Knight, you can see he's got his cup. He's going on to his quest. He's looking for his lady love. He's going to be a poet and a singer, and he's going to be in the world. It kind of reminds me of Don Quixote. He's out there romanticizing the world. He's in love with everything. Everywhere he looks, there's beauty. It's a lovely energy. But here, it's reversed. So that tells me that our work here is not in the world. The work is internal. So, this means that lovely romantic energy, you would focus on the world and, sharing your poetry, singing to the, singing to the mountains. Instead, turn it in on yourself and recognize the beauty of yourself. Sing odes to yourself. Look inside yourself for the beauty. I feel like that is a perfect action step to connect to all the other things we're doing this next 2 weeks. It's so easy to get so distracted by the world and trying to make an impact in the world and doing your work in the world and getting people to see you, that you forget to really see your own beauty and to give that attention and love to yourself. It also connects to the High Priestess. Like, treat yourself like your lover. Treat yourself like you are your own beloved. What would make you feel beloved? Give it to yourself, and really commit yourself to that in the next 2 weeks. And if you're able to do that work and really be serious about listening to your heart, resting, incubating what you need to incubate, then when the new moon comes, you're going to be ready to run. So, hope that's helpful to you. Please feel free to leave comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.